Hi, I want to do this video for one of my Skype students who's starting to get into lead playing over 7th chords. So if you know a few 7th chords already and you know a few major scales, I want to show you how to put those two things together and start getting some soloing action on them. So to start with, here are the chords that we'll be using, just the 7/7 chords in the key of C. We've got C major, C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G 7, A minor 7, and B minor 7 flat 5, or half diminished. And then finally C major 7 again here. So I'll be using those chords in exactly the positions where I played them, between roughly frets 3 and 10. So if we use the chords in those positions, we can just use 3 shapes of the C major scale just to get started on this, instead of using all 5 shapes. So the first shape, probably everyone learns, is this one starting on the C on the 8th fret on the low E string. So I don't want to take you through every single one of these scales. I'll give you a link in the description of the video to go look these things up. I've got some good looking diagrams on my website where you can do them. So we'll be using that scale, and we'll be using another position of the same C major scale in between frets 5 and 8, and then another position over around fret 3. So to start with, let's do that very first C major 7 chord that I played, and look at the scale that goes around it. It's a C major scale, and the way you're going to want to try putting those two things together, first thing, make sure you know the chord and you know the scale in this spot. When you put those two things together, I would suggest playing around with the scale and stopping on notes that you know are in this chord shape. So ideally you know the entire arpeggio, and you know every note that could be in the chord, but to start with you can just look at the shape of the chord. 3rd fret, 5th fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret. And as you're playing through the scale, if you were to surround and stop on those notes that are in the chord, it's going to go well with that chord, even though you're just kind of sledgehammering a scale on top that might not be totally related, a scale on top of a chord. So you can do something like, so as I'm doing that, I'm playing through notes that I know are in this scale, and I'm landing on notes that I know are in the chord. So every note that's in the chord is within the scale, but not vice versa. So I'm using those extra notes around the chord really to, it's really just embellishing the chord at this point. That one's in the scale, or that one's in the chord, that one's in the chord, that one's in the chord. So those are my target notes when I'm playing little lead fills around this chord. So if we go up to the next one, D minor 7, we're going to do exactly the same approach here, but it's a new chord shape and it's a new scale shape too. The scale shape here is going to be starting down here on your pinky 8th fret. So that's the scale, the entire vocabulary we're working with, and these, the notes that are in the chord, are our target notes. So you can put those two things together and just make sure that you're trying to land on these notes that are in the chord as you go. Next will be E minor 7, using Old Faithful C major at the 8th fret, or 7th position rather, meaning your first finger's at the 7th fret. Oops. Next will be F major 7. The same scale shape here because E minor 7 and F major 7 only a fret apart, and you can use the same scale over the top of them. And then G7, this will be down to the first scale shape we used again. A minor 7 at the 5th fret, so now we're in the second scale shape that we used. You might notice I keep putting these extra little notes in between, just habits, just little finger habits. I'm not trying to demonstrate those. And finally, B half diminished. This is usually a very quick chord that'll go by in one of these little those little cells of chords. It doesn't last very long, so you usually don't get to chill out on this chord for very long. But if you ever do, whoops. Same approach there. Just take your C major scale over the top and land on those target notes in between. And finally, one more C major 7 right here at the 8th fret. Alright, thank you for tolerating my mistakes, and good luck.